Welcome to Beehive Hill Cottage. The past couple of days I spent some time catching up on a few greatly needed spring cleaning chores inside and out that I've been putting off for a while. One of those particular chores is trimming the shrubbery and the roses before the temperatures begin to soar into unbearable heights and gardening becomes an early morning or very late afternoon task at best. I knew before I started that I would not only have the added hours of new chores, but also have the regular routine of my everyday chores, and, well, as you know, some days are just not long enough to get it all done. By the time afternoon arrives, I am usually spent and suffering from the aches and pains I have become acquainted with in my everyday life at this age, especially when I take on added or extra physical chores that need to be done. So the additional task of preparing dinner for two or more at the end of a busy day is sometimes unthinkable. At the end of the first of these 2 busy days, I sat down for a few moments to catch my second wind and perused my brain trying to think what I had available in my refrigerator that I could throw together and make a quick but tasty and satisfying supper without a lot of mess to clean up and without the added work included. Here in the South, we refer to our evening meal as supper. Well, it's really pronounced supper or supper if spoken correctly by a true Southerner. And I am of the belief that supper time is a special time. It's a time in our home when we come together to catch up on the details of the day at hand and discuss our plans and schedule for the next days ahead. So I feel like a little time and thought should be spent planning and preparing for our sit-down time together as a family. To me, there's just something about a vase of flowers on the table, lighting a candle, and laying the table with pretty napkins, even if they're paper, and preparing a meal that at least resembles what it calls itself. In other words, I do like to try to make all of our meal times as special as I can. So up and off I went to the fridge in search of good things that I could fulfill the task at hand without overwhelming myself. I had leftover strawberries from the previous week's pick, a couple of avocados, red onions, green onions, cilantro, a jalapeno, because sometimes you just need a little heat, and some lemons and limes. I also had a ton of cheddar cheese, cream cheese and mayonnaise, sourdough bread, and some sliced ham. About half of the strawberries were getting overly ripe and needed to be used right away, leaving the remaining half just right for fresh picked eating. I chopped the aforementioned fruits and vegetables into small bite-sized pieces and tossed them in some honey and lime juice to create a cool, refreshing strawberry salsa that I served over ice with corn chips on the side. I then grated the cheddar cheese, mixed it with the mayonnaise and cream cheese, along with a small jar of pimentos and several seasonings to enhance the flavor, and made a simple but very tasty pimento cheese to spread on some toasted sourdough bread to make a delicious sandwich. I took the leftover pimento cheese, because it makes a lot, and formed into a round mold and let it solidify in the refrigerator overnight. The overly ripened strawberries were sliced, combined with sugar and lemon juice in a saucepan, then boiled for a few minutes to form the most delectable strawberry jam to be smeared on top of the pimento cheese mold, then placed alongside some water crackers. And for just a little fun, I placed a tiny silver mouse on top of the cheese mold that added a little sparkle and whimsy to the plate. A can of inexpensive refrigerator biscuits were baked, because ain't nobody got time for making homemade biscuits on busy days. I filled the biscuits with leftover sliced ham, lettuce, and tomato to accompany the pimento cheese mold for the second night's meal. These 2 meals were easily and quickly put together and were placed on the table in under 45 minutes. I put together a bouquet of flowers from the cuttings from the backyard and placed some small plates and pretty napkins on the table for a very informal, impromptu supper. So simple, but it came together as though I had planned and prepared for days. Mealtime is a special time, but not because of the type of food you're serving or how fancy you have laid your table. Just gather whatever flowers you may have from your yard, peruse your leftovers in the fridge using a little imagination to pull it all together, and you've got a great, light, and refreshing supper that only took a little time and got you out of the kitchen quickly and with ease. I love late spring, early summer suppers at home. Warmer weather lends for a more relaxed way of dining with simpler, cooler cuisine and no heavy multi-course meals involved except on rare or special occasions. Pimento cheese is probably one of the South's most beloved sandwich and cracker spreads and as old as time. It's been around forever. More than likely, every Southerner's mother, brother, grandmother, or friend will be most proud to share with you that they have their own signature recipe, and of course, theirs will always be claimed as the best they ever had. You'll often find variations of cheeses are used, as well as seasonings and additives to elevate the flavor profile of the cheese. The most important advice for making pimento cheese is always hand grate your cheese. Never use pre-grated cheese. It just won't turn out the same. The recipe I'm sharing with you today is just a classic pimento cheese with no frills or thrills. We'll take it a little over the top by adding a crowning jewel of our own homemade strawberry jam, which adds a little sweetness and beautiful color to the top of the cheese. Be sure to give this one a try. I think you'll really love it. And it not only makes a great complementary side to a lighter sandwich meal, it can be and is most often used as an appetizer for anytime get-togethers. The recipes for the pimento cheese, the strawberry freezer jam, and the strawberry salsa, and the directions for the pimento cheese mold can be found in the description box for your convenience. I hope you'll find that they'll be helpful to you for a quick and easy weeknight meal on one or more of your busier days. You'll be amazed at what you can pull together to create a delicious meal, even when the fridge is a little sparse and time is running short. Remember, enough is always as good as a feast. Thanks for stopping by and visiting with us here at Beehive Hill Cottage today. If you will, please like, subscribe, and share, and I'll look forward to seeing you again next week. Until then, friends, peace and grace to you all.